The day I almost let winning change me. This wasn't supposed to matter this much, this one game, but it did. This was the last game of the season. If we won, we would have gotten first place. If we lost, we would have gotten second place. But the stakes were not just in the standings, they were in my emotions. Throughout the past few years, even as recently as just a few months ago, I preached over and over to the parents, to the players. I don't care about wins at 10, 11 years old. Let's come back to that when they're 14, 15, 16. But at 10 and 11, I don't care about wins. We're going to build and concentrate and focus on the traits and the habits and the behaviors today that will help us to excel and be better than other players at 15, 16, 17, and 18 years old. And I had told this to my players religiously. We're not about winning today. Not that I discourage players from winning, but we're not about winning today. And one thing that I always pride myself on is telling players, you need to make more mistakes. If I see players playing safe and lacking creativity, then I get angry because and playing back when they have space to go forward. That is the cardinal sin on my team, is playing back, playing sideways when you have the space to attack, kicking the ball out, kicking the ball away. I don't care if we're in our own box, own penalty box. We are not kicking the ball out in panic. We are going to take our time, be composed, dribble, make passes, and we will lose the game because we were composed, but we will not panic. So this is the type of mindset that I establish in my teams, and I've always done it. The season prior in the league that we were in, we were middle of the table at best. We were somewhere between middle and not relegation, but above it. So we were not in a position where we would think, oh, next season's going to be much different. So going into this season, we're like, you know what? It's probably going to be the same thing. Let's just focus on what we've been doing and making sure that what we're learning now will help us to excel years from now. Now, as this season goes by, I do see my players implementing things that we learn in training. But not only that, teams that were clearly better than us just last season, we're now beating. We're now winning against them. So much so, I remember the first game we had of the season, the second half of the season, and my players went into the game saying, oh, we're going to lose this game. This is the team that killed us last season. That was the first game of this new second half of the season. And I just told my players, guys, all you need to focus on is what we have been learning in training. That's it. I did not expect to win. They did not expect to win. But I wanted to go into the game, them going into the game, to be fearless, attack space when you need to attack it. Don't panic. Go forward. Be creative. That's all I said. And when we lose it, work hard to get it back. Don't worry about anything else. But in saying that, neither the players nor myself thought we would win. I didn't say that we wouldn't win, but I just didn't believe it. I didn't think there was any chance that we would win. Not only did we win that game, but we won against another one of the top teams, like the top two teams in the league, and then we kept winning. And then now we lost one game. I don't know what happened in that game, but we lost one game. But now we're in the final game. And if we win, we are first place. If we lose, we're second, but we still get promoted. But it is a very close game. And I believe at this point that I am beginning to become tense. I believe it is now 1-1. We went down 1-0. I believe it's 1-1 now. And I noticed a shift within myself. Now, every mistake felt personal. Every play brought anxiety. Literally every play brought anxiety. Every pass, every dribble, every missed tackle. And I started to react emotionally. I started saying things not loudly, but within myself. Or I said it softly, so no one else could hear me. And I started reacting like a fan. So now I was no longer a coach, but when you're a fan and it's a tight game and it's a close game, and every single play you're making a remark. If it's against your team, it's something negative. If a player loses it, it's all, what is that? So now I'm beginning to react like a fan. I'm no longer a coach. Now I'm speaking softly. I know that I don't want my players to hear this, but I'm standing up. I'm on the sideline, and this is how I am shifting as a coach. And that's when it hit me at some point that that's not the type of coach I wanted to be. I didn't want to be the type of the coach that when things were good or we didn't expect much, I preached my philosophy. But when things were tight and close, then I would panic and abandon everything I knew. I didn't want to be that type of coach. And as a result of this, I made a conscious decision to just walk back to the bench, sit down, and say nothing. I did not say anything. And the reason I did this is because I knew that if I started coaching, I would not be able to have the emotional control to stay with my philosophy throughout the game without overreacting to my players. So I decided to sit down because I wanted our philosophy to ring true regardless of what's at stake. I wanted to protect the environment, the methodology, the philosophy, all of these things, our beliefs as a team that we had built not just last season, but for years. And I wanted it to keep on going. And I didn't want the players to think that, when the games are close and when trophies are on the line and we abandon what we do. I did not want that. I wanted my players to be composed and relaxed regardless of the occasion, and that no occasion could fluster them. So I decided to sit down. And this is what I realized. Emotional investment is normal, especially when you're coaching because you love to coach. Emotional investment is normal. But when it is unchecked, it becomes ego, and then it becomes about you. It no longer becomes about the players and the long-term process. The biggest challenge that I always say with coaching isn't about the system you build or your philosophy or your methodology, but it is staying true to it when pressure arrives, even knowing that your chances of losing are even greater and your chances of winning are less. That is the challenge as a coach. And me sitting down in this instance was not weakness, but it was discipline. It was love and a respect for the players, but the process, the long-term process of where will my players be when they're 18 years old? Not what trophies are they winning at 10 and 11 years old. And I want to ask this to you as a challenge to you. What would you have done in my situation where you're in the final, you have a chance to win, you know that the philosophy you have been preaching will decrease your chances of winning? Will you stay with that, or will you become so emotionally charged that you will start reacting and saying things that you have not been saying or doing all season? I ask that to you as a challenge. What would you do? I want you to be aware going into games that have a lot of stake at stake. I want you to be aware going into games where there's a lot at stake to think about how your emotions could change within the game. And when you start feeling that you are reacting as a fan where every single play is such a big deal, I want you to audit yourself at this point. And I want you to remember that our players don't just mirror our tactics or our philosophy, they mirror our emotional state. So when our emotional state changes or goes a particular way, you can best believe that this shifts over to the players. When we become panicky, the players become panicky. And then I want you to think about this and ponder this question. Think about what age your players are at, because this answer will be different for each age group. What's more important, winning this trophy, winning this title, or keeping the identity that got you to where you are? What is more important? Because when things are at their highest stake and there's a lot to lose and a lot to gain, how will you transmit your beliefs to your players? This will change based off of whether kids are 8, whether they're 10, whether they're 14, whether they're 16, whether they're 18. This answer should be different based on the age. But I want you to ask that question. Is what you're doing different than what you've done before? Are you teaching a whole different system? Would you be proud of this system that you have at this point, coaching the way you are, if you had done that the whole season? That's it. That's all I have today on EvoToca. Stay tuned.